Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss Kepler's business case study on optimizing the logistics cost of a leader of a cosmetic industry. So the given context of the case study, that is points of discussion, are there are two distribution centers, north and south. There is saturated warehouses, and there is expected 10% increase in the volumes, and there is also evolving constraints in the market. So the main objective of solving the case study is to optimize the full cost, that is, and defining and sizing the logistics organization on a 5 to 10 years plan. So these are the main questions that arises during the discussion of the case study. Some of the questions are: what is the current TAT, and how does the current supply chain work, and do they have any optimizations tool in use, etc. So the methodology adopted by us was: first we mapped the process flow, then we observed the operating methods and analyzed the product and information target flow, and then we defined the impact and suggested some recommendations.
Thank you, Rahul. So we decided to go ahead with assessment of current state. So here we studied important areas which will be affecting our problem statements. So these areas were warehouse assessment, adding overflow location, inventory tracking, network optimization, transportation management, and supplier collaboration. So where, for example, right sizing of the warehouse can help prevent overflow issues and minimize cost. So in similar manner, we try to study all these important areas which are going to impact our solution further. Especially inventory tracking, as that has been explained further in our further slides as RFID. Next. Also, we have covered strategy for near future. So where we are focused on developing cost saving goals by offering discounts to the distributors so that we can increase the movement of our goods fast, so that we can also achieve reduction in the cost. And by conducting research to find alternative routes to optimize on transportation cost as well as for the carbon footprint. So next, we also included a process flow. So right from the manufacturer, where in warehouse we confirm and then update the information and process to next step, which is warehouse shipment, where product is getting dispatched and finally it reaches to a destination, and where the product's authentication is being done. We also included this value chain of cosmetics perfumery in our sector, which will be explained in the next slide. So here, value chain. Next, Samiksha. So this we have explained the flow of value chain analysis, right from the sourcing. So how important a strong supplier partnership is important in case of achieving optimizing logistic organization, and procurement, how we need to reduce our lead time and set the demand forecast, logistic process, marketing and sales, and even after sales services. So these are the important areas where we need to know the nitty-gritties of at the ground to understand and find the loopholes. Thank you.
Further, we have an issue tree. Here we have mentioned the major problem, that is the objective of our project, which is optimizing the full costs of the logistics of the cosmetics company. Here we have bifurcated this thing into three major cost incurring aspects, that is the inventory, OPEX, as well as transport. So under the inventory, we've got holding cost, tracking, as well as returns. Under the holding cost, we've got demand supply as well as damaged or spoiled goods. Demand and supply uh, majorly affects the holding of any inventory in a warehouse. Not having enough demand and supply data can affect this. The damaged and spoiled goods are another loss-making aspect for any warehouse. Demand and supply further bifurcates into optimization of softwares and forecast. These could help in better forecasting the demand and supply. And ERP software, when in place, we get a tech-first approach which then directly affects the labor force. If there's an automation done by implementing an ERP system, the labor required is lesser, and that lesser labor could be trained to a certain extent that can automate a lot of processes. And further forecasting the demand and supply can uh, uh, very well give us a good economic order quantity or reorder point, as in how much quantity has to be stocked in the warehouse, as well as what is the marginal quantity that is required. This is all basis of the demand and supply data that we've been gathering. And with respect to the damaged or spoiled goods, safer packaging or a supply chain is the only option to prevent damages that happen during transit. Next, in tracking could be done through RFID that helps in better monitoring. Tracking helps us know the ideal situations, know where our package has been moving right from the production to the end of its journey that is going to the customer. And next is the returns. Returns is very heavy when it comes to retail sector. Then we have operational expenses, that's the salary, rent, maintenance bills. That does not actually affect the cost. That affects the cost, but we have no say in it. Then the transport. With respect to transport, drivers, vehicles, fuel, and reverse logistics are a few cost draining aspects. Vehicles and fuel, we need to minimize the usage of both of them. And for that, the strategy that we can implement is split the map, that is the French map, into two aspects, that's the northern and the southern aspect. And we have one vehicle, one route. So with one vehicle, one route, we have one driver specifically going on the same route and delivering the parcels as well as collecting them while coming back. And we could do this with allotment of days, times as per the route that we get through the RFID monitoring. Next is energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is possible with replacing petrol or fuel cars or trucks with EVs, electric vehicles that produce lesser carbon footprints, that can gain us carbon credit points. And for EVs, one of our suggestions would be to take them on lease, and by tracking what delivery times are maximum, we can even have them part-time. And part-time drivers for this will reduce the operational cost, and we would not have any capital expenses attached to buying the EVs as such. Then comes the reverse logistics. That is the major cost draining aspect of transport. So as we mentioned, one vehicle, one route, that covers all this on one way. While coming back, the same vehicle, while following the same path, would take up the reverse logistic aspects and collect all the return orders. That will reduce the time, that will reduce the expense that we do in sending and getting the truck back and forth. And at the same time, labor cost will be reduced, as we won't need another set of people going and collecting a return parcel. Next, we've identified a few challenges that the entire cosmetic logistics industry faces. That is breakage of products and traceability during transit, for which we've placed the RFID in place. And then we've got managing requirements and demand supply parity. Less knowledge of demand and supply definitely hits the holding costs, and we either stock more products or stock less products. That either makes us lose a customer or increase our cost on the logistics aspect or in the stock aspect. Then there's reverse logistics. Reverse logistics are the most cost draining source of a logistics company. As mentioned earlier, splitting the entire map into two aspects, that is, we have two distribution centers, one at the north and one at the south, and each distribution centers will have a certain amount of vehicles that will follow a certain route and come back to the same warehouse or the distribution center. This will help in optimizing the delivery routes, reducing fuel consumption and transportation costs. We could also consider different modes of transport, that is road, air, rail, based on cost effectiveness and delivery speed required.
Thank you, Samiksha. So earlier we saw one of the solutions that we came across and with. So I'll explain to you RFID as we discussed before for the tracking part of it. So RFID is a radio frequency enabled device, a tag kind of thing that is attached to the product, so that the product could be traced better, because it will definitely cut on the cost as well as will let us know where our product is getting damaged, how are the losses that we're incurring. So RFID does serve as a good source of getting the information and data for our products and the damage data. So yeah, one point is this. Secondly, if we see environment, when we talk about environment, yes, we as creators of a product, we need to consider environment firstly. So when we create a product, we see how the design of a product should be made so that it caters to the environmental aspects also. So when we're sourcing the raw material, we need to keep in mind that it is sourced from the right parts of the world, maintaining the sanctity of sustainability, ethics and ethos. And later on, when we move to the manufacturing part of it, when we manufacture, we take the whole responsibility for the health and safety part of it, the energy and the water use that we take, the resources we use from the environment. Then the third part that comes is your packaging. Packaging plays a very important role in our sector of business. So yes, we do think of taking sustainable packaging as a part of our whole procedure, because if we use recyclable packaging and everything, it will save us cost. And as well as when we create our products, we use recyclable material for it, it will definitely provide us more cost efficiency. Then for the distribution part of it, we as sustainable leaders, we see that we use EVs and we use products that will cause least emission of CO2. Then consumer use, when we talk about, we want to create products that are sustainable for them, that causes them no harm, it is good for their skin, it is good for their consumption. And when we talk about post consumer use, we talk about sustainability in a way. To give an example of a perfume brand that is Make My Own Perfume, they take their used products packaging and then they reuse it by giving the customers a discount, so everybody wins. Moving forward, we see this is the impact modeling. This is how we see how we've impacted in this case study different aspects of business. The quality, by using RFID, we've come to a point where we understand the quality of our product more better. We understand the efficiency of our logistics better, because it helps us track the quality of the product, that where our product is going, who is utilizing it, where is the point where our products are being the most damaged, what is causing the losses. Then we come to the cost part of it. Yes, we save a lot of cost when we inculcate such great measures that we talked about earlier on. Then time, definitely time is saved if we use the talking about the truck one, the strategy we used, we do save a lot of time. And then as for the environment, yes, we discussed, we have undertaken multiple initiatives that will help in environmental safety.
Thank you, Chavi. So here we have listed few assumptions that was there during we studied and solved this case study. Tried to solve this case study. So assumptions were that is a inbound logistics, domestic, no optimization tools in place, such as we have talked about some software for tracking or automation of the entire process for warehouse management or anything related to logistics. Also, we assume that wrong warehouse layout is the reason for time it takes to overcome overflow of the items. Capacity of warehouse is not enough as required based on the production of the item, so that um, saturation of warehouse is there, which is mentioned in our case. So one recommendation was also we have listed that in the given case we have two distribution center. One is in north and another is in south. So if we can have one more distribution center in between, and if we can see that if that help in reducing the transportation cost as well as for the better transparency and the communication while following the whole process flow of the logistic. So that's it. Thank you.